Mr. 2020 and the golden one dropping wrestling talk. Wrestling adventure storytelling, no fake news here. Yo.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, the one and only world-renowned Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventures. I am Mr. 2020 himself. We got the golden one over there and the mayor himself in the house. How's it been going, Mike?
It's been pretty good. Did a little work today and then came home and trying to get something going with the podcast that's not working. So
Yeah,
maybe next time.
There's always something. If it's a technical difficulty, I have a lot of them myself. Right. So, especially with the podcast in. So, listen, big news. Not to go straight in the news real quick, but we'll do this and we'll get back into maybe some personal talk of ourselves. But listen, everybody, this is big news. And I just read this probably 5 minutes ago. Came across my phone. Ted DiBiase Jr. has been found not guilty on all counts. So it says that another headline, ex-WWE wrestler Ted DiBiase Jr. found not guilty of all charges in the fraud case. He actually made a response, which I have not listened to yet, in the local news down there in Jackson, Mississippi, where he lives. So that's a big deal. That was a big, for years we've been hearing about this, for years. And if you'd listen to the way the wrestling media, the regular media in itself, and the way a lot of wrestling fans, they have their message boards, they get online, they like to talk a lot of smack. A lot of the boys do it even on social media, and they sound dumb at the end of the day, discrediting Junior, Ted Jr. And just say it. The man was found not guilty, guys. So there you go. We don't need to even talk about it ever again if we really don't want to, because there are things in our country that we go by, and it's you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, obviously this man was proven not guilty, and kudos to you, man. I guess that proves one or two things here. One, you absolutely did not do this, and I'm going with that because that's the way the verdict is. Or you're very good at doing things and getting by with it. But regardless, kudos to you, and he's not guilty, everyone. So I guess we can stop talking about
it.
Yeah, big news though. That's a big story.
It really is. I always liked Ted DiBiase.
A good worker. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe since he's cleared now, maybe they will kind of do an angle with him up at WrestleMania, where it's like legacy back together. Like maybe get, because him and Roach was tag team champions and stuff, but they was up in a team with Orton and everything. So maybe Orton uses Ted DiBiase to turn and go after Roach more, because it'd kind of be a shock because Roach and DiBiase was so good together.
Yeah.
So anything's possible there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many years we've been hearing about it, but it's been several. It's been over 3, I know. And just to hear that they're finally done with this case, I'm sure it's a sigh of relief, because he had some serious charges. He could have went away for probably till he was an old man, and probably if he ever got out, the quality of life would be done by that point, Yeah. So, I'm sure it's a sigh of relief. A lot of stress removed from the family. I'm sure his father's happy. I'm sure his wife, of all people, sure the spouse was going through a lot of stress. And when stuff like this happens and one person is accused, the whole family gets shunned on and looked at bad, That's including your wife, your kids, if you have any, your mom and dad. And his father, Ted, was such a big, prominent role in the wrestling industry forever. His grandfather was as well. And and also he's an evangelist, Ted Senior, real big in the religious and all that. So that had to make that end of his life probably a living hell as well. So kudos to you guys. I'm glad everything worked out for you. But like I said, I got to know Ted a little bit by being in developmental in Florida. Always a good guy. I didn't see anything personally weird about him, or he didn't seem stuck up. He was always a good guy, nice to talk to. And his brother Mike, I met him on some indies back in the Carolinas years and years ago. It's been probably about 20 years ago now. And Mike, his brother, was really good dude as well. So good stuff, man. Got some good news today in the wrestling community. If you're a Ted DiBiase fan or family fan of him. So with that being said, back to our personal lives, because we normally don't jump into so quick of news, but we just read that, and it's kind of like we got to talk about it now, fresh on mind, freshly out there. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, things down here have been Florida cooled off this week a little bit. We had our little bit of a cold front. Mornings in the 40s again, which is cold for this area in the Tampa Bay area. But it's still warmed up to be in the 70s pretty much every day, so not a bad week. And had a show last weekend. We talked about it in the last podcast before going into it, out in Hudson near Newport Richey in Port Richey, Florida, out up there at the Circle S Barbecue. And they have a nice little facility outside behind their restaurant. Kind of cool. They make it into a little arena. They also have MMA fights there as well at times. And really cool, nice little spot, real intimate. And the crowd there had a really good time last Saturday, and I did too, because I got to reconnect with Billy Silverman, former WCW referee of all people. We reconnected before back in December at a signing down here in Clearwater, but we actually got to work together again, because we hadn't worked a show together probably in 20 years or better. Maybe that better part is what I'm talking about. It's been a long time. And it was just so nice. It's always a pleasure to talk to Billy. And Billy's a wonderful, wonderful dude, but a really old school show. And that's what I really like to see, that the independents that go back and make you feel like, hey, there's more to wrestling than what you just see on TV every week, because there is. And most independent shows nowadays try to cater themselves to look like a minor league WWE or a minor league AEW, TNA. You get what I'm getting at. But this group certainly is not. It certainly has a throwback feel, and it's very refreshing. And Cahagas helps put this thing together, and he does a wonderful, fantastic job of doing this. So thank you for having me again. I can't wait to go back and work for this fine group of Florida pro wrestling again in the future. So looking forward to that. I know we didn't talk about it. It's been a few weeks now. Maybe we did talk about it. Montville happened. The Boogie Show happened a few weeks ago, right? Did you go to it or not? I can't remember.
I was going to, but at the last minute, something popped up, like family-wise, so I did it.
Okay.
But
I was just curious how the house was. That's why I asked. And I don't
it
remember.
sounded like it was really good.
Right.
Okay. So, I know there's a lot of new fans that showed up and everything. Yep. I saw that they're like up on the Pure Pro Wrestling Facebook page.
Yep.
Go like their page, but also go to Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventures Facebook page to follow that and everything. But yeah, I heard it was a pretty good show. I think they was going to do something because they just crowned a new champion in Rocky Mount like the weekend before.
Okay.
I think it's going to be like a celebration then or the week after.
So who is the new champion they crowned in Rocky Mount up there? Do you know right off?
I don't.
Okay. Because I'm just curious who they gave it to this time. Because there was a local guy. he wrestled as Sin, and he had like face paint, and he was really big over with the kids and stuff, because kids love that type of thing. And he had it for quite a while when I was living up there. And then Jimmy, shoot, man, why do I keep forgetting names today?
Yeah.
Jimmy Love. He runs that outfit, and he's also the champion a lot. But, we go back to talking about that, even though it's an independent group ran by Jimmy, you can't sit there and discredit why he puts himself as champion. It's sort of like the old theory when the bookers had the book back in the day in the territories, they put themselves over as the champion because they could trust themselves, with the belt. A lot of guys, if they're afraid they couldn't trust anyone else, they could at least trust themselves. Yeah. So I understand that. That way, Jimmy knows he's going to be there. If he's running the show, he's going to be there, right? But if your champion says, hey, I can't make it this weekend, it throws off your whole thing, and your champion's not there to defend his title and so forth, So, but yeah, I'm just curious. That's good. We can look that up maybe and find out what's going on with them. And because, that is one of the longest running independent promotions in that area left is Pure Pro Wrestling. The other one would be a great guy, Scott Rutter, National Independent Championship Wrestling. That was my last indie gigs, was in Stewart, Virginia for a whole weekend for him back in June before I moved to Florida. And Scott always been very accommodating and a great group of guys. Both groups throw an older style feel to the business back to it, which I love, because you can't be WWE and AEW and run an independent show. You just cannot run like that. I'm sorry. You got to be different. An alternative, well, there's no reason for the fan to want to come and watch you. A group, because if you're not different, what singles you out to want to be watched? And that's the problem that a lot of these independent groups are making today. But anyway, I digress, and we can talk about that all friggin' day long, because my feeling on the way the business has changed, and I feel like it's changed too far at this point. I get it has to change, but there's a point where, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's kind of like trying to reinvent the wheel, and yeah, you can't do that. And a three-legged chair won't hold a man up, but a four-legged chair will. So why change it? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I hope they were good analogies and people understand what I'm saying here. Anything going on personally up there in Virginia, dude? Anything cool to talk about?
No, I'm just sitting in the three-legged chair right now. No, I'm just
I've
kidding.
never seen a three-legged chair that would hold up, so please show it to me.
I will later.
All kitchen chairs are four-legged. I'm sorry. All folding chairs are 4 legs on them. I mean, it is what it is, man.
They got 3 legs on a little chair that you can use for up in the woods when you go hunting.
Like a stool?
Hey, it's still a little chair.
Yeah, I don't trust them.
Well, no,
I've never been hunting either, Mike, so.
Yeah, I could tell.
Hey, that's not funny. Was it?
A little bit.
Okay.
No, what was the question? I'll tell you.
What's been going on up there? Like, is anything cool happening in Roanoke? Like, I know at one time there was this article I read about them building a Ferris wheel, of all things, downtown and putting on top of a building.
I don't.
Was that satire or was that real?
Like, I heard about it one time, but that was it. No, the only news around this area was a couple of nights ago. Somebody stole one of those South Air trucks, like a work truck, and they stole it. Went on a high-speed chase with the cops and crashed it.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds
it was all over the Facebook down here.
Oh my God!
Other than that, there ain't really nothing else.
Yeah,
it's a very boring time sometimes in Bedford. Sometimes you get a lot of stuff, and sometimes it ain't nothing.
Yeah. Well, we don't live directly into Tampa, but nothing unusual happens. Has been happening here for such a big area. Just I can tell you this: traffic sucks everywhere you go. Doesn't matter where you go. But the weather. Even when it's cold here, the weather is not cold compared to the area that you're in, and going up north, of course, even worse. But I enjoy the weather here. I enjoy the sun. I feel like my body don't ache as much, maybe because of the heat. But whatever it is, it's great. So with that being said, we talked about Ted DiBiase Jr. That was fresh news. Bam. But let's talk about something that's a little more idiotic, a little more stupid of the week. So we call this the Clown of the Week. We're going to start doing this every week, Mike. And this is the Clown of the Week that I nominated for the week just because of not knowing how to keep someone's mouth shut. So the Clown of the Week in professional wrestling this week in March of 2026, it is the 20th, it's a Friday, is none other than Ricochet. So, story goes, there's a fan had said something smart to him. Apparently the fan had MS. Apparently, I guess it's on their webpage or something, or he could tell they had MS. I don't know how I found out. But he said something to like he was happy to the retrospect if he's happy that they had MS. Kind of a douche move. A lot of fans went on to say that he's being a heel. Yeah, I doubt that. Let me tell you why I don't think he's a heel. I think he was just being a douchebag, because a heel in the wrestling world knows how to draw heat without having to say something so dumb to somebody. It's like me looking at somebody with Down syndrome and calling them the big R word. That is not good. That is not cool. Just to generate heat. Not cool at all, bro. The heels of the past, go look at the videos. And I don't have to even bring up, I can just tell you, Terry Funk, the Horsemen, any of the Horsemen, Ole, Arn, Tully, Rick, Barry, Lex, any of them knew how to cut a promo and never had to degrade a fan in their promo to the point of that. Flair may have looked at someone and said, "Shut up, fat boy, or I'll take your wife home with me," but he never insulted someone that had a disability. So with that being said, and they never used curse words back in the day, right? Because they didn't have to. It's cheap heat. This guy, if he was doing it to be a heel, he's wanting cheap heat. And he sure as hell got it, didn't he? Because now he's got threats towards his, I don't know, is he married to this girl or just his girlfriend?
Yeah.
He's married?
Married.
Okay. Now you got your wife getting threats, buddy. You're an idiot. You put your wife in the crossfire. You're the idiot. You're the one to blame for this. You're the one to blame for her getting death threats or whatever's being said to her. You're just the idiot of the week.
What about Scott Steiner? He used to insult people.
To that degree?
We gotta go back, but I think he probably did.
I don't think so. I'm gonna tell you something about Scott Steiner, man. I like Scotty. Scott. We were talking. Me and Billy Silverman were talking about Scotty the other night. Since we moved on, I want your opinion on the idiot of the week in a minute. I want your honest opinion after we get done with this. So, on to Scott Steiner real quick. So Scott Steiner, I'll tell you, when I went in, Scott Steiner's story goes like this, and Billy even talked about it. Scott would, I think when you're new to the company, he would mess with you, to see how you react to things. Well, Scotty would, I'll tell my story. I won't talk for Billy because Billy's not here today to talk about his story. And I'll let him tell it one other day. But mine goes as this. I remember one time in particular, I was going to referee his match on one of the pay-per-views early on. He was working Hugh Morris as General Rection, or Hugh G. Rection, which I love the name. People made fun of it, but it was funny, right? But anyway, before their match that night in the locker room, I go over to talk to Scotty. Well, Scotty's there getting worked on he's busy. He's getting probably stretched out by the chiropractor backstage and getting popped, whatever you call it. And he's sitting there talking with Nick Patrick, and Nick was actually the agent of this particular match. And then Scotty was like, "I need some coffee, kid." And I'm like, "Okay, now I'm going to get coffee for this guy," right? He tells me how to make the coffee precise and to put 3 ice cubes in it. That's exactly what he said, because he didn't want it super hot when I brought it back. So then I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I bring this coffee back to Scott Steiner, and it burns him. Is he going to beat my rear end, right? So with that being said, I was a little nervous being around Scotty at first because he's very intimidating. He's very large. And I was new to the company, but, I came back. And then after he kept ragging me a little bit about this and that. And then he's like, Nick, how is the kid? Is he any good? And Nick was like, yeah, the kid's good. I like the kid. And so, from that day forward, I worked Scotty's match that night at the pay-per-view, which I believe it was Slamboree. And Scotty was always nice to me from that point. We never had a problem. And when I went back years later, I worked with him at TNA. And he worked a loop of house shows against Abyss. And they had some killer matches. They even bumped me a few times during the loop. And we had fun. Scotty was very accommodating and very nice and put me over. And that just goes to show that I earned respect of one of the greats in this industry that, not necessarily he has to give me that. He really didn't have to. So good story. If we had more time, I'd pull out more of my stories. But that's the only one with Scotty that sets out there, and from how I earned the respect and worked with him in WCW. And years later, we ran into each other. I worked his matches. He liked working with me by that point. It was just great, man. But speaking of Ricochet, like I said, he went on and say this stuff. He got the whole wrestling community. Some people are taking up for him, saying he's being a heel, that people are too sensitive. But there comes a point where what he said is not to go across and say someone should be sensitive about it, right? What he said was downright awful and making fun of somebody's disability. And that I do not agree with. It's just, if you were trying to get cheap heat, it's the wrong way. I don't think that's the case. I just think he's a douchebag. And he can blame himself for his wife getting threats online, like I said earlier. But I really love, like I said, to know what your opinion is.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I had to go outside and talk to the neighbor for a minute.
You're fine.
No. I think it was just him being a character.
You think he was in character for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think
if he wasn't, I think he would have been fired. With everything that goes on in the wrestling business now, he would have been fired.
But would he? Because we're talking about not WWE, we're talking about Tony Khan's company.
Yeah.
He looks at things differently.
So. I think he would still. I think he would get fired.
So your honest opinion about what was said is he was working and then it turned into worse.
I think it was. I mean, it's hard to say. It's like another subject when we brought it up last time. It could go either way,
Yeah.
I think it was since he became heel and everything. He's still trying to do whatever he can to keep the heat and everything.
Right.
Now
let me ask you this: since you are saying that it's all him trying to get heel heat, right? Now, answer me this though: do you think he's going about it the right way, or do you think he should change the way he's going about it?
He probably needs to turn it back a little bit.
So not make fun of people with disabilities.
But the thing is, he's trying to do like the heel heat and everything. But MJF insults people all the time and everything.
To that degree,
but people like MJF more than they like Ricochet.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So,
because we get down to the bottom line here, right, Mike? If we compare the two guys to their body of work, MJF, when it comes down to it, if he left all that silliness behind, the way he interacts with the fans, he's a really good heel. He's a really good heel. I don't understand why he does the silliness at these meet and greets and gives them the bird and all that and does weird stuff. I don't understand that part. I don't understand why Hill would do that. But what I do understand is when he's in his wrestling persona inside of an AEW ring, he normally does a really good job of promos and getting himself over with Hill heat. So I don't know. It's just a touchy subject, and
It is a touchy subject.
you gotta be careful. He's in the line of fire when you're in the public eye.
Yeah, but like no matter what we say, somebody's gonna be, oh, it's like what I just said, like it could be heel heat or whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna probably be Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous and said that I'm sticking up for Ricochet and what he said and stuff, which I'm not. I'm just trying to say it could be heel heat, or he did it like I don't know what all happened. Really, just
Yeah.
like it has to be more to the story than the little bit that we're getting. You know.
I would think
Like,
so.
So it honestly could be anything. But
Yeah.
I just think like his promo sucks. Like, he's
Yeah.
not the best promo person, and that's one reason why WWE released him. So maybe he's got to try to find like another way to get that heat, and doing this is he thinks he could do it, but it turned into like a negative way.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Okay. Well, I just want
yeah,
to.
I mean, it can, like I said, it can go either way.
Right.
As an athlete, I think he's pretty good.
Right.
Like I like him. Just his promos and stuff. He still needs a lot of work to get to that next level.
Yes.
But,
Definitely working promos.
But like in ring abilities and stuff, he's pretty good.
Well, for today's standards,
Yeah.
we gotta say that because if we compare him to a 1980s style, he would never even got a job. That wouldn't thought of in America. He may have been okay in Mexico, the lucha style.
Yeah.
But he would, or maybe Japan, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He could have made it up in WCW with the cruiserweights.
Well, yeah, we're talking about late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but you know,
he could have made it work, but
you know, a lot of these guys couldn't work in farther back past the late 90s. We're talking about 80s because even Japan, the territory over there, dude, they had guys. You'd have to work with like Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen and Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Terry Gordy. They tear and these guys are a lot smaller than these guys, right? Bam Bam Bigelow was a big star over there too. Yeah, they couldn't hung back then. Just sadly. I mean, it is the way it is. But then again, the way the business has changed, would a guy like Bruiser Brody, I think he would. Here's the thing, though. But if you flip-flopped it, guys, the 80s style could flip-flop today and still make it because I think they're so believable that they're pro wrestling, right? I just think you can't flip-flop the guys of today and flip back them 40 years ago. But that's just my opinion. I think none of them would have hung back 40 years ago. Their style's too crazy for American wrestling. And a lot of them are so small that the promoters probably wouldn't even let them in the ring, you know. It's just the truth. I'm not trying to downgrade their abilities. It's just we've changed as a business, and a lot of that they can contribute. And I say it all the time. When WCW brought the cruiserweights in, that helped the smaller guys and the aerial styles become more popular. Along with Omega set the tone with the Hardy Boys and Shannon Moore and Shane Helms and all these guys in the Carolinas set the tone for what later became Evolve and Ring of Honor and TNA and so forth, right? So you can always thank America, people in the U.S. One of the founding fathers of that is Omega from '98 in the Carolinas, and I'll stand by that. And I said that at the Omega reunion we had. I said that on the panel. I'm like, you wouldn't have Evolve or Ring of Honor in style wrestling in the United States if it wasn't for Omega in the 1990s. And I believe that wholeheartedly because the Hardys were very highly tape trade because we didn't have the internet back then. You couldn't stream stuff. You didn't have YouTube and all that. You had to tape trade, and they would be tape traders would be taking the Omega tapes and trading them for whatever else, to trade with people. And that's how they became popular. Even Tony Khan said he used to tape trade. So it's kind of a cool deal, that Omega was such a big deal. But I believe Omega, independently wise, helped set the tone for smaller promotions such as Evolve and Ring of Honor. But WCW helped set the tone, and ECW helped set the tone for the Luchas widespread. So that's my take on that. But I mean, yeah, I've worked with Ricochet over the years down here in Florida for Evolve. And I also went to, not Japan, but I went to China for 2 weeks on the Evolve tour. We did that. And I always got along with him. And I refereed his matches. He worked Chuck Taylor a lot because they came from Kentucky and they broke in together. And Chuck was a good dude as well. I owe him a few beers because he bought me a few over the years, and I've never repaid him yet. But hope Chuck's doing well. I already had some kind of surgery or something, a neck surgery or something. But yeah, I mean, I see your point. But it's a hot topic, fine line where you need to draw it, because now he's got a whole can of worms opened up. Back to the subject we're talking about, of course. He's got a whole can of worms opened up. That people's even threatening his wife online, bro. And that's not cool. People shouldn't threaten her for something he said. So now the people online are getting out of hand. It's just a bad, blown up situation is all I'm saying. We need to stop it, people. You can't threaten his wife, her life, or his life even for what he said. I mean, you have an opinion, just like he said something stupid, but you shouldn't threaten him. I don't agree with that. But it's just all blown up now. So hopefully the shade and everything he's getting from this and his wife will blow away, and we can get back to talking about pro wrestling only instead of what people do, right? Because it's really dumb at the end of the day, man. The whole thing's dumb at the end of the day because everybody – I saw some stuff that was written online. They were actually threatening to kill him and her. Really? Come on. Get a life. You as a wrestling fan, you shouldn't be a wrestling fan if you'd say that to somebody. So I have a problem with them too. It ain't just them. It ain't just him. It's the whole situation I have a problem with. It's just all bad around the whole thing. You shouldn't threaten people. But that's okay. So you got any more on that subject, or should we move along?
Let's move along.
I don't blame you. I think we should.
What do you think about the backbone of the NWO, Dennis Rodman, going into the WWE Hall of Fame?
I think Dennis is deserving of a wrestling Hall of Fame in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, especially WWE, because WCW's gone and they acquired WCW. I think he belongs in it, but I think he should be they should say the celebrity wing. They shouldn't put him in the actual just, hey, you're in the WWE Hall of Fame. Not because he didn't add to the product years ago and he wasn't great at what he did. It's just he was an outsider coming into our business, and we should give you your just due, but the Hall of Fame, the real Hall of Fame spot should be left for the actual wrestler or entertainer in that aspect. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
is he going in as a celebrity or is it the wrestler?
All they're saying, every headline I read was just he's going in. So I don't know. It probably is a celebrity wing. I don't know. But it's just saying he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. It's got to be the celebrity wing because he's never made an appearance for WWE, has he? Or has he?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, he might have, but I don't think so.
Okay. Something to look into as well, because I did not research that. But I didn't know you was going to bring it up today. So.
Well, what can I say? I'm a podcast journalist.
That's right.
I bring the news. But I mean, I don't know. Do you put him in as a wrestler though? I just looked at it and it doesn't say nothing about celebrity or a wrestler or nothing. But do you put him in as a wrestler though? I mean, I know he has some matches and stuff, but then I don't know.
I mean, you can, but I mean, realistically, at the end of the day, if they didn't put him in the celebrity wing and it's just the rest, it's just he's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. He's going in it one way or another. So
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, if you add that celebrity wing part to it, or just hey, you're in the WWE Hall of Fame, he's in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
It's not one that I'd bitch over if they just didn't announce that part of it with him per se, because he is an athlete. He understands our business enough that he got in there and actually did the actual work with Hogan and the NWO and all that. And Karl Malone worked him or whatever with DDP that one year. So I think he put in the work. So I'm not going to discredit him as much as I would another celebrity that they'd have put in there if they just would have put him in there. You know what I'm saying? Is that making sense?
I'm just saying, I would have had like David Arquette as a celebrity because he was a WCW champion.
He may be down the road because it takes them forever to put people in it anyway.
But they need to put Vince Russo in there and Chris Benoit.
Well, we already know that we both agree on the Chris Benoit. But here's the thing. We all know why he's not going in. And everybody else that listens does too. They're overshadowing the fact of how great he was as a talent by what he did outside the ring. We understand that, right? We know he's not going in. Now, the reason Vince Russo ain't going in, I don't know. He can't have that much heat with the office. And if he does, for what? Because they even tried to bring him back in 2002, and it just didn't work out. So I don't know what their problem is. And Russo deserves it because, one, he was at the Attitude Era for that company. That was a big time when you're working against WCW, beating you for 83 weeks in a row, and you helped build that back up. That's a big deal. And ECW was popping. All cylinders was going. The pro wrestling business was on all cylinders at that point. But I can't think of a reason why you would say, no, he doesn't belong. Because he has the attributes and reasoning to have him there. But why won't you put him in is the question. So that is something to be brought up. But I don't know why he ain't going in. But we already know the answer to Chris Benoit, unfortunately. It's sad. But if we went by his talents alone, Chris Benoit should have been in there years ago. Just, that's the truth. His what he gave to this business is remarkable.
Well, we might just have to start a Hall of Fame up on here and put Chris Benoit in it.
Maybe.
We might have to talk to the head people in charge, and maybe we'll start a Hall of Fame.
Not to change the subject, Mike, but I just read something online that got me, okay? It says Al Snow drops cryptic fake friends tweet amid OVW ref seizure backlash. Okay. Which I think I saw that because me and Al are actually friends on Facebook. And I've never said anything derogatory over the situation that happened. We both agree that a lot of things happened wrong there. Me and you both have said that. But Al shouldn't be thrown on the coals here. And because there's a lot of people that can be blamed here, not just the guy that puts it together. I'm going to tell you why. Because you have other referees that work for you. Even if you didn't send one out, shouldn't they notice that something's wrong? You're a referee. You know when people get hurt. We're actually looking for that, to throw the big X up. Why not at least run out there, not worry about your positioning on the show or your job at this point, scared of what might happen to you, throw up the big X after checking on the guy because you know something's wrong. If the boys in the ring are not that smart to catch it and do it, help him out. So there's a lot of people to blame. People at ringside, for God's sakes. People taking pictures at ringside are standing there. There had to be other personnel. It's a lot of people you can blame for that situation, since we're talking about it again right now. So I don't. That's why I've never said anything negative towards Al Snow. Because he gave a lot to this business, and I generally believe that Al Snow cares about the talent. and the talent, meaning even the referees. I really sincerely believe Al Snow cares about everybody. I just think it was a bad situation, and and everybody can be blamed for it. Should he take responsibility? Yes. Should he be shunned and talked to like not a human being at this point, like a lot of people are doing online? No, he should not. So with that moving forward, there's tons of people to blame here. And especially the wrestlers in the ring mostly, because they're doing it around this kid, right? But the tweet goes cryptic when he said that. And it's here's the thing. I got it now. Fake friends are no different than shadows. They stick around during your brightest moments, but disappear during your darkest hours. So yes, I was going through some crap this last week. We know this. Is he referring to, and the article is referring to this, Mike. The article is saying that it's Jim Cornette by what he said on his podcast. Now, they may be reaching here to try to start trouble, but Cornette, I listened to it, and Cornette did say the following. Cornette said something to the effect, the show must go on attitude, ripping the current OVW leadership, including Snow, for the way they handled the situation. Still, it should be noted that both OVW and Snow have pledged to change and improve their existing protocols. So I agree with Cornette 100%. Everybody's to blame. I just said that before. But Snow and the company has made statements that they're going to better improve their protocols moving forward for the safety of everyone involved. So they're doing what a company normally would do. They got to make a statement. They got to make a statement that sounds good. Regardless, if you believe their statement and think they're full of hog crap is one thing, or you believe them. But the point is they're doing what a business does. And I don't know what else to say about the situation. I hear the kid's doing better, and I hope him to continually get better, and and if he can come back to our business, come back to it. Come back ready, come back in the right mindset, and because that's got to be scary after going through that. But I hope the guys involved. Here's my biggest hope: the men involved in the ring that did this around him. That you guys, not the referees, but you guys get the proper training to understand safety is the first protocol of being in that ring together. You take care of everyone in there, so everyone go home safely to their family. And by what you guys did, especially to the dude that rolled him and kicked him out of the way, which was very uncalled for, and I still believe you deserve a throat punch, if not more. But irresponsible. You're irresponsible as a worker. You need to get your shit together. So there's my take on it again, but that's what's said. So what I'm trying to ask you, Mike, is by what's being said, do you think that tweet goes to him, or do you think it's just a random tweet because there's probably several people not lining up with what Al Snow's trying to portray out there now?
It's probably to multiple people, but maybe Jim Cornette's podcast kind of pushed it over the edge to where he almost seems like it's towards him.
Yep.
Because it was probably like the final straw and everything. But then it's probably for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah. I think he probably got like a lot of backlash from it and stuff. So he probably, whatever, try to, it's like, oh, this and that, put out tweets before and stuff. And then Jim Cornette goes out, and I haven't listened to the podcast you said you have.
Yes.
But I could just imagine the podcast, because I know how he is when he starts talking and stuff. So he probably said something to maybe made Al Snow a little mad, and then he just sent out a tweet and everything, and like right after that, and just meant it for everybody, but he probably pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, but I totally agree with Cornette, in that. And of course, Al's going to be in the crossfire because it's a big subject. It's a big problem. We've never seen that before that I can recall. Not just my 33 years of being in the business, but even years before that, is watching as a fan. You know, I've never seen anything like that. And hell, but here's the thing: on the flip side, it's probably a hard situation for the company to be in, you know, and the guys, because they've never have seen that. It's got to be, you know, because you can take up for both sides here in a way, you know. And I'm an official. You'd think I'd be so hot right now, be throwing stuff at the wall, but I do think, like I said, the most people being blamed should be the guys in the ring. You were right there over the kid laying there. You should be the first ones to be blamed, no one else. Should everybody else take responsibility that's involved with that company? Absolutely, from top to bottom. But you guys, especially the dipshit, excuse my language, that, like I said, you roll him over and then push him with your feet out of the way like he's a bag of garbage laying in your way. Irresponsible. You shouldn't even work right now until you get further trained on how to be somebody with empathy and respect and knowing how to care for others, because obviously you don't. And you can say you do all day long in line, because I know you have. I've seen them. But I don't believe it one bit. I think you're just trying to save face because you want to be in the pro wrestling business and go to bigger and grander things. But right now, I don't think that's in your case, buddy. You look so bad right now. I don't think even a larger company would even look at you. So you got bigger problems on the horizon. But whatever. It's just a bad situation. And regardless if Al meant that just for Cornette, I don't think he did. Hell, he might not even know Cornette said anything. Some people didn't, you know, unless he listens to it every week. Or someone said, hey, Al, did you hear this? And which they might have. But regardless, it's just a bad situation that needs to be rectified from top to bottom, from office all the way down through every talent you have on the roster to people that are around ringside to put up the ring and clean the ring off during matches, you know, wipe the ropes down. They need to be held accountable too, because you have so many people around there that can see things. You telling me out of all them people, you couldn't tell this kid was seasoned? Come on. I don't buy that one friggin' minute. Everybody's worried about the old motto, the show must go on, even if somebody dies. And that's ridiculous. I always hated that. But anyway. All right. Anything else?
I want to watch the whole match though, because I mean the part that I saw, which is the part that like we're all talking about.
Yeah.
That one wrestler that kicked him, it don't look like he really paid too much attention to the ref.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe he's like, oh, you're in the wrong spot, and just kind of push him out of the way, you know? Maybe he didn't really pay too much attention until, but he did look a little worried when he finally saw the doctors up in the ring, you know?
Right. You're right.
I mean, I could see if he did know and everything, he saw that he kicked him out of the way and stuff, bad situation. But they said it was a planned spot. So, I mean, if you don't really pay too much attention and you just see somebody laying there, your first thing you're going to do is push them or kick them out of the way. You know? Just so they can be, like, you can have the spot like you need to keep the show going, but not realizing what's going on. Which, if that's the case, then that's bad on the wrestler because you need to know where, like, your whole surroundings, not just what you got to do. So,
yeah, I mean, you know, it's a touchy situation, and people are still talking about it even over a week later. But you know, that podcast did hit the nail on the head, regardless if it was meant just for him, the tweet or whatever back to him. Regardless, totally bad situation, but it is true. Everybody needs to take responsibility for that was involved, and then more so because there's more people there that could have noticed that something bad was going on. Common sense kicks in. Why is this guy doing this or doing that? Why is his body tensing? Why is his arms moving in a weird way that they shouldn't? something is totally wrong here. Common sense. I mean, hell, the crowd's sitting there, and if you look at the match, the crowd don't even act like they react to it. It's a sad reality. It's like even your own crowd didn't even know whether this kid was selling or going into a damn seizure. It's just horrible. No one even was yelling, hey, hey, nothing. It's the worst case I've ever seen ever. And I've been doing this, like I said, 33 years. And even before that, I watched it for years. I watched it for 15 years. Well, not 15, I guess. Wasn't a baby watching it, but I probably watched it from the age of 2 or 3 on. And all them years leading up to 15 when I got in it, and then I worked, I've never seen anything like that in my whole life. I've never seen a referee get that injured. It's a first. I give them that. But it's still bad, regardless. So maybe they didn't know what to do, but come on. I don't know. Bad subject. I just hope they do get the protocols in check and they do learn how to teach the performers, hey, referees also get hurt. We need to look out for them because they throw the big X up for you. Where's their help? Why ain't we getting them help, right? So we need to get that protocol there. So hopefully they get that taught or whatever the scenario is and can rectify that situation. So we'll see.
Yeah. They, like you said, they probably didn't know what was going on and stuff. But one thing that I do know what's going on, and that's Cowboy Revolution.
That's right. So,
I
Mike,
mean, a good friend at Cowboy Revolution.
why don't you tell everybody about Cowboy Revolution and what they can save?
Oh, you want me to do it this time? Man, I love this. This is my favorite part of the show. So, Cowboy Revolution. It supports the veterans. Who doesn't love the veterans? So, you go to cowboyrevolution.com. Use the promo code JamieT123. That's JAMIE, or I think I just spelled it wrong. I don't know because you took it off the screen. There we go. Yeah, I had it right. I've been up since like 2 o'clock this morning, so I'm a little tired. So, cowboyrevolution.com. Use the promo code JamieT123. That's JAMIET123 for 15% off. And like I said, you can get shirts, hats, tumblers, stickers, posters, handbag for the ladies. You name it, they have it. So, if you're watching the podcast, it's right there on the bottom of the screen, Jamie T123. But just for our listeners, it's promo code Jamie T123. It's JAMIET123 for 15% off at checkout.
Yep, can't beat it. Got some good merch over there. I don't have that hat on I normally wear. This is my Tampa Bay hat I got on today, but I love their merch. Go buy you something. So let's talk about something else. I don't think we brought it up yet. So he was known to be a big wrestling fan. This man was also known to appear in the WWE in 1994, I believe the Survivor Series. It's none other than Chuck Norris. Now, Chuck Norris passed away. He was 86 years old. And that just happened either overnight or this morning, from what I understand. So, man, I got some good Chuck Norris memories. A lot of them movies growing up, them action movies, Chuck Norris was in them. What was the movie, Mike? I'm trying to think of the name without looking it up. You know how we had Rambo with Sylvester Stallone? What were the war movies that Chuck Norris played in and was like in Vietnam and stuff?
You just had to put me on the spot, didn't you?
I did.
I know it. Hold on.
Was it? It wasn't Commando, was it?
Like I said, I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning. It's hard for me to remember. But what was it?
I don't even know if I can find it here. I know he was in Texas Walker. Was it
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger? Yes. That was a big deal. That show was on for years. Missing in Action was the movies I'm
And
thinking.
then Invasion USA.
Yep.
That was a good one.
But they did
That
like
one Top Dog, like a police dog type thing.
yeah.
He was
But
in a lot of good ones.
These movies I'm talking about, they did like 3 of them. And it was like Missing in Action 1, 2, and 3. I remember 1 and 2 the most. Growing up as a child, I know you're thinking, what? Yeah, I was probably 8 years old watching some of these movies. But
I don't think they had movies back then.
huh?
They didn't have movies back then when you.
Yeah, they were in color, Mike. Can you believe the movies were they were in color by then? Can you believe that?
Yeah. No.
Well, they were. And they were on VHS. Can you believe that much?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well,
They were. So, yeah, Chuck Norris is gone, and that brings a lot of childhood memories. So yeah, but yeah, I had to bring that up today.
Do
So
you think he can go? I know he was really at the 1994 Survivor Series.
Was the Survivor Series? Okay.
Yeah.
I said, what did I say?
I don't know what you said.
I said Survivor Series, didn't I?
No, yeah, but I'm trying to make a point here, or I'm asking a question.
Oh, okay.
As a podcast journalist, I'm trying to get the scoop.
Oh, I see where we're going with this.
Mr.
Okay.
2020, the youngest and only red-headed referee in WCW history
that
ran them out of business.
Yep, you can thank
it
me
almost
for that.
killed TNA back in the day.
Too bad I didn't.
Jimmy Tucker. I want to know his honest opinion. But with Chuck Norris now no longer with us, him just being at Survivor Series 1994, really the only time that he was kind of in a match type thing, but he was like an outside enforcer. And he round kicked Jeff Jarrett up in the match. He made a few appearances like at WrestleMania and stuff like that.
Yep.
Do you think he can go into the WWE Hall of Fame now since he's no longer with us to like the celebrity wing? I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot, but they have people up in there that didn't really do a whole lot, and they're in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they could do something, maybe just to get a pop and a reaction? If so, that would make them look bad, in my opinion. Like,
right.
Should put them up in there before, if so, not if like he's no longer with us, you know.
Yeah, not after the fact.
Yeah. But do you think he can actually go up in there?
I mean, you could put him in there, even though he had very little interaction overall. And definitely in the celebrity wing, you would have to say it's in our celebrity wing. I'm trying to think of other celebrities that went in there. Did Drew Carey go in there?
Okay. I'm pretty sure he went up in there.
Okay, so if Drew Carey's in it from the little thing he did at WWE with Kane or whatever, yeah, absolutely, we can put Chuck Norris in there.
Well, don't get me wrong, you got Donald Trump up in there. He deserves to be up in there.
You're fired.
But I mean, Trump, like they held 2 WrestleManias, like second and third.
Yep.
At his place and everything, and then he did that Monday Night Raw, like Raw Trump or whatever, for like 3-4 weeks.
Right.
And then he was part of that WrestleMania match, Battle of the Billionaires. So he probably had a little bit more time on TV than Chuck Norris, and they put him up in there and everything. So Trump never really had a match. and he's up in there. Chuck Norris didn't really have a match. Like that's probably like the best comparison,
Right.
probably because Drew Carey did enter the Royal Rumble. I think, didn't he? And then I think he eliminated himself when Kane came out.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. It's been a while.
So I mean, but he was up in the match. Pete Rose, he's up in there, ain't he?
Yes.
So
Pete
he's up
Rose is
in
in it.
there, and he's getting tombstone and chokeslam by Kane and everything, but he's up in there. So I mean, it's a possibility,
Yeah.
but with the new people, would they put him up in there, or would Vince McMahon put him up in there if he was still in charge? Because these new people, I don't. It's hard to say. I think
I
if
don't
Vince
know.
McMahon was there, I'm pretty sure he probably would have.
I don't know how they make their decisions on how
You gotta
they
be best friends with
pick.
The Rock, and you gotta be best friends with The Rock and Triple H.
Maybe.
Unless you're really over like AJ.
Yeah.
If you're really over like AJ, then you're good. Like I hate to say it, but I think Demolition only went in there because Triple H kind of mend those bridges.
Who?
Demolition,
Oh.
because if it was Triple H, I mean Vince McMahon still in charge, I don't see them going in. Triple
Right.
H kind of mend those bridges, and then now they're up in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to say who should go in and who shouldn't go in because there's different reasonings for why.
Yeah.
But and I don't know how they dictate who goes in sometimes because there's a lot of workers that you would have thought what was given to the business, the industry would go in before others, but haven't.
Yeah.
But a lot of it comes down with heat at the end of the day, or something stupid at the end of the day. Somebody doesn't like you at the end of the day, or you would think that a business that big isn't petty, but it is. But that's just like anything we do in life. If people have some kind of pettiness towards you for whatever reason, it can hold you out of having things that you so rightly deserve or should get, right? So it's hard to say why they pick, who they pick, and what years. Um, I know Demolition was in some kind of lawsuit for years against the WWE. Was it a concussion lawsuit or something? I want to say. I can't remember if that was it or not. I know Earl Hebner was wrapped up in it. It was quite a few people wrapped up in it. Apparently, they let that go. And did we ever hear? Did anybody ever make any money from it? I don't even know if anybody even made any money, or I don't even know if the people involved in the concussion lawsuit made money or just had sat there and just let it go dead. I don't know, but I'm glad they let that go because Bill Eadie and Darso both belong in it. They really do. So it's good that they're in it.
Do you think Crush should go in?
Crush should go.
You think he should go in there with Demolition though? Because it's reports like people asking online.
Yeah.
Do you think he should go in there with Demolition, or what? What do you think?
Not necessarily. I think he could stand on his own going in because of his other gimmick he did as Crush, and just stand alone as Brian Adams, his actual name. He was part of Chronic as Brian Adams, and I think he could go in just as Brian Adams and maybe talk about his prior gimmicks. Oh, he was Crush with Demolition. He had a illustrious career as Kona Crush, the second version of Crush. And we could talk about what didn't he have some other gimmick in WCW before he even was part of Chronic? What did they call him? Was it just Brian Adams? Or who was Wrath? Was that his partner? Who was Wrath in WCW? It was. I don't think it was Brian. I think it was. What was his partner's name? For God's sakes! Oh man, I had such a brain fart. He was also Adam Bomb, though. Let's go by that. He was Adam Bomb, and he was the Night Stalker. I just can't think of his real name right now, and I apologize, but I think he was Wrath in WCW. So maybe Brian was just Brian. He was in the NWO, remember?
Yeah.
For the longest time. A lot of the history gets boggled in my head now. But no, I think he can stand alone. The question was, should he go in with him or not? I think he can stand alone with no problem. He doesn't have to be in there with them. I just think if you're putting Demolition in, you had to have them two together in it. Definitely.
Yeah.
You can't say I'm having Demolition Axe but not having Smash or vice versa, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, somebody brings that up, like Crush goes up in there with them. Like, I agree with what you're saying. My thing is, like, why? Like, you take, in my opinion, you don't put them in with Demolition
Yep.
if you could not put Eric Bischoff in the Hall of Fame with the NWO.
Right.
But then you put X-Pac up in there.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do it just for the NWO, it should have just been 3 founding people if you're not going to put Eric up in there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you use that logic, Crush shouldn't go in there with Demolition, in my opinion.
Yep. You're right. Yep. Good. That's a good answer, actually. It's a good answer to that. So Hall of Fame once again this year. WWE Hall of Fame. Let's do the old recap because we got the new one in today. We talked about him. Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, Demolition. Hold on, I got it. I think.
We just talked about it.
Dennis Rodman.
There you go.
Is that the only 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
I thought we had
Dan
one more
Housen.
for some reason. I thought we had a 5th number.
No, maybe Danhausen.
Okay, that's not going to happen.
He's trying. Which, I'll give him an A for effort. He is trying.
Let me ask you this. Danhausen, do you think he's a perfect WWE gimmick?
Yeah, for kids.
Okay.
Now,
do you think he...
I think it's playing pretty well. If their ticket sales is outrageous.
Yeah.
But how do you get the adults to come to the show? You get the kids involved. What's better than getting a gimmick that is great for the kids? Like Danhausen.
I agree with that. But think about this, Mike. What if your prices wasn't so outrageous and the family of 5 or 6 with them 4 to 5 kids or whatever, right? You have to buy regular price tickets too. Why does it have to be so inflated? You know what I'm saying? Why not want to sell out WrestleMania's 80,000 seat arena 2 nights in a row at lower ticket prices and make a ton than sell a lot less tickets and have to block off so many seats because you can't sell the seats because, hey, guess what? Most people cannot afford it with the economy. So you see, it just makes no sense. I understand that the company's trying to make the most money they can and be the most profitable company of 2026, but you got to think about your.
Either way, I think you got to think they're still making money, even if they don't sell out the whole arena.
That's what I'm saying. But why wouldn't you want it full?
But what I'm saying is, you got 80,000 people sell tickets. What? Say sell it for just $1,000 a ticket. That's $80,000 if it's sold out. You do $5,000 for a ticket, going 40,000 people shows up. That's 200. That's 200,000. Yeah. So you're still making more money.
I need a calculator.
Yeah. So I mean, you're making money no matter if you bump the prices up. You're making money even if you don't sell out.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more money than you would have if you're selling it low.
Yeah, but you know, I come from a different. When I was a fan, I haven't been an actual big time fan. When I say that, not because I'm not a fan of the business, but I've been in it so long, I really don't pay a lot to get into places, right? But what I'm saying is, I come from an era that tickets were affordable to what the incomes of people were, right? The average wrestling fan, if they're just strictly paying for it out of pocket, they don't want to pay $5,000 to sit ringside. They're more, I understand maybe $400 or $500 at a WrestleMania, but why are we charging $5,000? You know what I'm saying? If it might be more than that. I don't know what the ticket prices are. I'm just using an example here.
That's what I was doing.
Okay, because I don't even know the real ticket prices. But if you're charging $1,000 at ringside, even why? Why charge $1,000 for a front row seat where you can charge maybe half of that and get more people interested? Or maybe the higher up seats, instead of charging, I think they're charging several $100 for the nosebleed seats, right? Why? Why not just charge a respectable price and fill that stadium out 2 nights in a row? Have it from wall to wall and side to side, up and down, and just fill it out and make big money from it that way, then have to lie later and inflate your attendance record. Oh, we had 80,000 people here, and come to find out you had 40. I mean, I don't know if they can get by with that, but I'm just using an example again. Why?
It doesn't matter. They will blacken out the arena without selling it out, or they could sell it out, but they will still inflate those numbers.
Yeah.
They might have 80,000 people, but they're going to say 90,000, 100,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No matter if they sell it out or not, they're going to inflate those numbers no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I think historically they've always done that, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even back in the golden era when Hogan was selling out Mania. WrestleMania 3 said 93,000. Someone I heard later that was a little under that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But are they going by attendance record at that point, or going by ticket sales? Maybe it was 93,000 people total, but they only sold 80,000, Or is it 80,000 only? You know what I'm saying, though? What is their take there?
We're going to have a deep dive into this.
Yeah, to understand where their thinking is. Regardless, I was at a couple WrestleManias over the years, and they were fun to be at. One in particular, I was actually with the company. I probably spoke about it before. Living here in Tampa area, we was in Orlando that year. The Flair Michaels match, the retirement match, and then come to find out 2 years later, after that great historical match, Flair went out on top of his game. I mean, he still could go. Comes into TNA 2 years later, working matches with Hogan and different people, and it just wasn't the same. Just was not the same. And of course, he's had his retirement pay-per-view since then. And Flair is one of the best of all times. But I think after a while, you gotta leave something behind. You gotta leave your legacy, right? You want to stop at a good point, so people don't think about all the bad years of your legacy. They think about your heyday. And I think up to 2008, Flair, if he'd have stayed going from then, no one can say anything negative about this man. But they do have open conversations now about how after the fact, TNA days and then his retirement pay-per-view in 2018 or 19, can't remember what it was, that he just didn't look the same, right? So, and they're right. He went through a lot of health issues, and but he's just one of them guys that can't let go of something, and that's the business. A lot of them can't, and it's bad at the end of the day for the fact that when you can't set aside something that in the long run could hurt you. Hopefully now he's retired and he can let his legacy live on great, right? So
I don't know. I did see a rumor that he might do one final match.
oh my Lord. I could see that.
He always died the last time, so hopefully
Yeah.
it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even if it was just from dehydration, like he said, it's still not good, regardless of why he was having issues, But, he couldn't ask for better people to be in there with to take care of him if something would have happened. So he had some good opponents, a good tag partner, and a really good referee. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The referee didn't kick him around.
No. Not Kyoto, no. But yeah, I mean, how do we get off on this? We talked about ticket sales and stuff, right?
Yeah, somehow we did.
Somehow. But anyway,
Somehow.
now we're off on Flair and retirement. But anyway, somebody got off way out here in left field. That's right. That's right. This is left. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're a good referee right there.
That's right. The best one ever because can't see nothing.
No.
You know what, though, Mike?
Really on here.
I was just thinking just now, maybe I need my eyes checked. Okay, there you go. You love that thing, so I had to bring it on the show today. You got anything? The glasses are off.
I hate that eye. I wouldn't wear. I just threw my glasses somewhere. That's how
I hope you didn't break them.
I didn't hear a crunch, so I'm good.
Well, don't forget about them and step on them.
Well, if I do, I got another pair.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. But yeah, man. I guess this week we touched a lot of different subjects. It was a lot of stuff going on this week, though. Enough.
Yeah.
In the current wrestling state, that we didn't have to go back in yesteryear to talk about something really cool. So, guys, we were talking the other day, and then we're going to probably head out for the week. We were talking the other day, me and Mike. We're talking about doing a live episode, and we'll give you enough time to know about it, not just from our social media feeds on the Facebook and the Instagram pages, which we do want you to like and subscribe to. Also, like and subscribe to the YouTube page. We'll let you know there if you listen to the podcast, but we're also going to give updates on our personal sites just about the live show so you guys can tune in. Now, on this live show, we're looking at, and we hope to get this together, we're going to have a really, really cool guest on that week. That way you can get your questions ready and send them in live as the show happens. So you don't have to email us. You can if you want. We'll have them to the side. But you can also ask your question live as we're going on the podcast. So it's going to be a unique situation for us as we haven't done a live one yet. And we've only had one guest since we started this thing a year and a half ago, the podcast. But we're bringing the live guest on with questions asked live if you want, or emailed in beforehand. And that email address is always on the screen, like right now, wrestleref123@gmail.com. There you go. And we're looking forward to bringing this to you. And it's going to be fun, exciting at the same time. We don't know what might happen if it's live. So there's no editing and recording of that. That's, of slicing down the middle there. It is what it is, and it's going to be live. So I'll look forward to that in the next few weeks.
It could be our final episode.
It could be.
After that.
We could be. It could be very, very, very rough one. But we're going to find out, and we're going to have fun with it as we do it. And just one more reminder before we leave. Our great, wonderful sponsor that we've had since the start of this thing a year and a half ago, and I think it's been that, in September of 2024. Go to cowboyrevolution.com. And at checkout, use code JamieT123 for 15% off your purchase. I just botched that myself. Once again, it's JamieT123 for 15% off at checkout. And we look forward to bringing you them 15% savings to the consumer, but you also give back to the veterans. That's really important. So with that being said.
You was laughing at me earlier for botching it, and then you did it.
Gotta have one botch per show, or you're not doing it right. Just saying.
Wait till we do that live episode.
It's gonna be on fire, baby.
A whole lot more botches than that.
It could be. Could be. Well, with that said, I'm gonna get off here before I have another botch of some kind. But we appreciate you listeners or watchers. Whatever platform you use, you see them at the bottom of the screen. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Podbean. Go listen to the episodes or watch us, please. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page. Go to our Facebook page, Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventures. Also, we have a new Instagram page, Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventures as well. and like that one and let us know what you think about them. But until next time, Mike, you got anything else, my man?
Nope.
Me neither. So with that being said, before we have a botcha mania of our own, peace
And
out.
we will. Bye.
Bye-bye.